Okay, this is a quick recording on how to utilize Brivity for your transaction management. Now, as agents on Elevate, we don't want you doing transaction management, but it's really important to understand the why behind the power and leverage that technology and the technology of Brivity give us when we're managing a client. Now, if we didn't have Brivity, it's entirely manual on how you update and keep your client abreast of what's going on in the contract, meaning you're having to systematically call that customer day and night. They're reaching out to you. Most of the time, they're reaching out to you and interrupting you, and you feel obligated to stop whatever you're doing and answer the question that they ask. Now, that problem of a customer always wanting to know what's going on, what's the next step, can be solved with great systems in client management. I learned this long ago as a top producing listing agent. The more consistent I was with my follow up with my sellers, the less they called me and the less they needed from me, and the more happy they are at the end of the transaction, which leads to referrals and reviews. So it just makes sense. So at Elevate, we follow a very systematic model of when we have a active client, how do we communicate with them, and what do we do? So the key is, the great thing about Brivity is every day your client gets a report of what's happened within the platform. Meaning, if we've uploaded documents, if we've completed tasks, if we've sent emails like auto emails, they get a daily report of what's going on. So it's super important to actively manage your Brivity transaction as you're just completing the steps in the escrow process that you normally would. For example, make sure you're checking your tasks every day. The tasks actually tell you what you need to do. So if you're inexperienced on an escrow, the steps inside of the task management system in Brivity, we've taken the time to literally break down a whole transaction and tell you what you need to do, tell the escrow manager what they need to do, and so on. The other key is you want to notify your client up front the value of going in and checking Brivity, because this will help you receive less calls. The client's going to feel more fulfilled that they know what's going on, and no one else has this technology. So you're actually giving them an experience that is totally unique and that they can't get anywhere else. So upon opening escrow, you're going to want to notify your client that they're going to get an email with an introduction email and then also instructions on how to log in. The cool thing is your client gets the report in the morning from the day before. They can log into Brivity and actually see what you see. So they can see all the notes that you've left, all the tasks that you've completed, and all of the documents that you've uploaded. If you're not actively working the system, the updates are empty. So it looks really silly every day when the customer gets an update and there's nothing that's been done. So you need to check your Brivity transaction daily. If you do this for 15 minutes a day, it's super duper easy. The transaction management team is also going to be executing what they need to execute. But some important triggers would be if you talk to the listing agent and have communication, I would leave a note. If you have your schedule of inspections, I would create a template. We'll share that with you, and then put all your inspection dates in there. And if you have inspection dates in there, there's going to be tasks that remind you to call your client and just give them a reminder. There's also really important emails and text messages that go out triggered by certain things that you do, so you don't have to go out and manually email or manually text. Super powerful. There's over 160 tasks, emails, and texts in that auto plan, and it's just really important that you pay attention to this and spend 10 to 15 minutes a day. I promise you, if you do that and you have 10 escrows and you're spending an hour a day managing your Brivity, your customers will be super happy. You can take on more escrows, and that's our entire goal.